Rev students, how are you guys doing? It is great to be here with you. How many of you guys were with us on Wednesday at Abide? Awesome, vast majority of you. If you were not there, I hate to tell you, but you missed out on a phenomenal experience. It was absolutely great being there, being a part of the worship. I'm sure all of you are disappointed that I am not the same speaker that you listened to last week because he was just that good. But I'm so excited to be here with you as we start our new series, The Storyteller, and it's all about stories that Jesus has told. And man, there's just something about stories, and I'm not sure if you're a book reader, a movie watcher, well, whatever it is, but there's something about getting caught up in a story. I feel like that's the reason that the Marvel franchise is as big as it is, because if you don't know this, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, did something that no one else has ever done before. They did 23 separate movies telling individual stories, all coming together to tell one overarching story. No one in the cinematic world has ever tried something that big to pull it off together, all pointing to the same thing. And it was actually a really big deal in the cinematography world. But it's something about a story. Like, you have to see every movie. You have to be a part of it. You want to get captured by the story that they're telling, and that's why Harry Potter is so popular. You see three little rascals running around getting in trouble, and you're like, they're probably from Jasper, Georgia. But and you just get caught up in their story. It's the reason that Disney can remake the same movie over and over and over again, and you will go see it and you will go buy it because there's just something about a good story that you just want to get caught up into. And I remember there was a time, if you have ever been to the store, REI, it is a outdoor recreational fitness, all kinds of stuff store, and lots of fun stuff. I can't remember what me and my wife were doing there. I think she might have been buying a new running shoe or something, but I was just in the outdoor section, and this book caught my attention. This is what it was called, How to Survive a Bear Attack. And so I thought to myself, you know what? I've never encountered this situation, but if I ever did, I'm sure there is valuable information to find in this book. And the whole book is a story about how this guy survived a bear attack and not really knowing what was going on. And as he looked back on his experience and gathered data about bear attacks and how bears interact with people, he began to tell you how to survive a bear attack. And I got to this one page and it stopped me, right? Because I'm already kind of engaged in what's going on, and I'm not sure if it's the suddenness of his statement or what it said, but this is what it said. Are you ready? It said, don't try to run from a bear. The bear will chase you. The bear will catch you. The bear will kill you. And I remember thinking to myself, like, man, I really don't want that to happen to me. And my first instinct would have been, hey, maybe I should just run from this bear. And it actually goes on to tell you that bears are faster than racehorses uphill and downhill, and they can climb trees. So despite what your childhood cartoons taught you about how to survive encounters with a bear, just throw it all out the window, go read a good book about bears. And I'm sure you're thinking right now, why are you even telling us about this stupid book that you read? And two reasons. One, I don't want you to die if you encounter a bear. That's a very good primary reason. But number two, this story, I got caught up in the story, and it made me evaluate what I would do in that situation. Who I am in this story, what is going on, how I would react, because that's what a good story does. And as we begin to look at Jesus' story today, we're going to be asking ourselves the same questions. Who are we in this story? How would we interact if we were in this situation? Man, what would we do if this was us? And so we're going to be in Luke chapter 15. And it starts in verse 1. It says, now the tax collectors and sinners were all drawing near to him. And the Pharisees and scribes grumbled, saying, this man receives and eats with sinners. Jesus was going around doing his teaching thing, his ministry thing, healing people, helping people. And there's two types of people that were following him around. It says that they're the tax collectors and the sinners. And if you don't know why it's such a bad thing to be a tax collector, maybe someone in your family does taxes, and you're like, when I read the Bible, I feel like I should hate you. But the reason that tax collectors were so bad is that the nation of Israel, the Jewish people, were under the impression of the Roman Empire. You've probably sat in enough history classes to know that the Roman Empire was kind of a big deal in history. And what happened is that the tax collectors would go to the Roman Empire and be employed by the Roman Empire to then go collect taxes from their Jewish brothers and sisters and then go back and give the money back to Rome. So people really didn't like them. And then it says that there were also sinners, that there were people who were the outcasts in society, people who did what they wanted to do. They didn't care about the religious rules and what was going on, other people's expectations of them. But it says something interesting here. It says that they were drawn to him. It seemed like there was something about the way Jesus treated people that drew people that no one else wanted to be around to him. And then it says that there's another type of people. It says that there are the Pharisees and the scribes, and these were the religious people. These were the really churchy people. These were the people who knew a lot about the Bible, but they treated people poorly most of the time. And they were following Jesus as well, but they were following Jesus because they didn't like the way that Jesus treated the other people that they didn't like. So they're following Jesus around, giving him a hard time. And it says that, man, this man receives and eats with sinners. And that as I was studying, that word receives is talking about welcoming. It wasn't just that Jesus spent time with these people. It wasn't just that Jesus ate with these people. Jesus looked forward to interacting with these people, and the religious people did not like it. And he's setting this up because he is going to tell these people a story, these religious people and these outcasts, and he's going to tell them a story that they're going to find themselves in. And so that starts in Luke 15:11. He says, and he said, as he was teaching, there was a man who had 2 sons, and the younger of them said to the father, Father, give me the share of property that is coming to me. And he divided his property between them. Not many days later, the younger son gathered all he had and took a journey into a far country. And there he squandered his property in reckless living. And when he had spent everything, a severe famine arose in that country. And he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to one of the citizens of that country, who sent him out into the fields to feed pigs. And he was longing to be fed with the pods that the pigs ate, and no one gave him anything. And maybe you hear this story about this young man and this family, and you're like, I don't really understand what's going on. I don't really understand why this is a big deal. But for someone in that society to go to his parents, specifically his father, and say, hey, give me my inheritance, would be him saying, hey, I don't want anything to do with this family. The inheritance was something he was supposed to get when his father died. As the second son, he would get 1/3 of it. And he says, hey, I don't want anything to do with this family. I don't want anything to you. I'd rather just treat you like you were dead. Go ahead and give me what you owe me, and I'm going to go do my own thing. And in that moment, he was placing more value in the things that he wanted than the family that he was given. He was placing more value on the material things he felt like he was missing out on than his own father. And the crazy thing is that the father gave it to him. Like, imagine you going to your parents and being like, hey, can you just give me all that money I'm going to get when you die, and I can just go do my own thing? Like, how many people feel like that conversation would go well for them? All right, no hands are raised, just in case anyone was wondering. That is not a conversation that is going to go well for you. And he takes the money and he goes out, and it says he lived recklessly. He spent his money on what he wanted. If he saw something he wanted, he got it. If he wanted to go spend time with a certain group of people, he would spend his money. If he saw a camel that was really nice, he went and bought it. If he saw it, he wanted it, he bought it until he couldn't anymore, until it was all gone. And what the Apostle Paul is going to tell us in the book of Romans is that God will give us over to our own desires, that he will take his protection off of us of our own bad choices and bad desires and give us over to go choose whatever we want to, even if it leads us to a place where we'll end up getting hurt. And that is exactly what is happening here. He goes and says, hey, whatever I want, I get. And eventually he finds himself working with pigs. And for all of you girls in here, these aren't like the cute little like teacup pigs that you all like, you know, want to play with and running around your house and take pictures for Instagram on. These are like big, fat, smelly, gross pigs. You know, one of them was probably named Bacon. I don't know. That's just a guess. It's not in the text. But he chased everything that he wanted to, everything he liked. All those things that he was probably sitting in his house wondering, man, if I could just have that, wouldn't that be great? Man, if I could just go spend time with those people, that's why really, if I didn't have all of these rules, my life would be so much better. And he takes his money and he goes do his own thing and he finds himself alone and broken. And the reason that is because broken things can't fix broken people. Broken things can't fix broken people, and I'm not sure what you're searching for here today. I'm not sure where you're at. I'm not sure what those things in your life are that you're if I coulds, you know? I mean, if I could just date that person, my life would be so much better. Man, if I could just have a car right now and go where I wanted to, my life would be so much better. Man, if I didn't have to listen to all the things my parents asked me to do, my life would be so much better. And the if I coulds could go on and on and on until they don't anymore. And the reality is that sin offers you promises it can't keep. It takes you further than you ever wanted to go. It keeps you longer than you ever wanted to stay. And it costs you more than you ever wanted to pay. And you find yourself one day in a place you never thought you would be, doing things you never thought you would be doing, wondering what in the world happened. And that's where this young man is. He's literally feeding pigs, wishing he could eat the pig food that they are eating, and saying, man, what happened? Man, things are not better now. Things were way better back when I was in my family's house. The story continues in Luke 15:17 through 19. It says, but when he came to himself, he said, how many of my father's hired servants have more than enough bread? But I perish here with hunger. I will arise and go to my father, and I will say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Treat me as one of your hired servants. Now, I want you to see his mentality here. I mean, he has gotten to a point in his life, in the situation that he is dealing with, and he knows he has been wrong, and he's just thinking back. He said, man, even the servants in my father's house are being treated better than I am right now. Man, even the people that used to work for me, they have bread. Man, I just got off of a fast, and I didn't eat bread for 21 days. When you don't have bread for a long period of time, bread sounds really, really good. And he's saying, man, they have a place to stay. They have food to eat. They have shelter. Man, and I am alone with these smelly pigs, and I don't know what's going on. And he's like mentally preparing this conversation. Have you ever had a conversation in your head before? Like with someone else, maybe you're getting ready. You know you have to have this tough conversation. So like in your head, you're already preparing. You're like, man, I'm just going to go and I'm going to say this. And they might say this, but if they say that, no, they better not say that, because if they say that, I'm going to say this. And you're like 6 hours of conversations in your head. I am the worst at this, and my wife loves to call me out on it. I will be like sitting in the passenger seat of the car, and she'll just be like driving, and I'll just be in a conversation in my head. And the bad thing is that even in my conversations in my head, I still talk with my hands. So I'll just be over here like, and Caroline will just look over, and I hate it when she does. She says, who are you talking to? And I absolutely hate it, because I know in that moment I just got caught having a conversation in my head. But that's where this guy is. He's preparing for every possible outcome, every possible scenario as he's on his way back to his father. And he's saying, man, I'd rather be a servant than a lost son. And he knew that he was probably walking into judgment. He knew he was probably walking into punishment. Man, you might have heard me share this story a few weeks ago, but as I was reading this, it came to my mind again. Because when I was just out of high school, I got into a really bad car wreck. I actually fell asleep driving. I wouldn't recommend it. Fell asleep driving. I was actually working 2 jobs at the time. And so I got up at 5 a.m. and worked till 5 p.m. And I was leaving that job to head to another job to go work, and fell asleep and hit a car. And I remember coming out of it, like the wreck, and everyone was okay, thankfully, and just thinking like, man, now I gotta call my dad. And in my mind, I had all these conversations about where this was going to go and where it was going to lead and what he was going to say and how he was going to react. And as I called him and, I'm, getting emotional because I know he's going to be disappointed. And I'm just telling him, Dad, I got into a car wreck. I'm so sorry. I wasn't trying to. I fell asleep. I wasn't trying to fall asleep. I'm so sorry. And he stops me in that moment. He says, are you all right? He says, where are you at? I'm going to come to you. And in that moment when I thought I was going to receive punishment, and in that moment I thought I was going to see judgment, my dad comes and he comes and he embraces me in his arms. He said, it's going to be okay. You didn't mean to do this. And when I thought I was going to get the most judgment I ever had, instead I received grace. And that is exactly what happens in this story in Luke 15, verse 20 through 24. It says, and he arose and came to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and felt compassion and ran and embraced and kissed him. And the son said to his father, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. But the father said to his servants, bring quickly the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand, shoes on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let us eat and celebrate, for this my son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found, and they began to celebrate. Man, and the son is on his way back, and he's preparing his mental apology. Man, just preparing for what he's about to walk into. And the father sees him and begins running to him. And I don't want you to miss it. Like, the dad wasn't just walking through his house and happened to look out the window at the right time and see his son out there. The reason that the father was able to see him from a long way off is because there wasn't a day that passed that the father wasn't waiting for his son to come back. There wasn't a day that passed that the father wasn't waiting to see his son off in the distance. And he doesn't even get to finish his apology before the father stops him and embraces him and begins to celebrate that he has come back. And, he doesn't wait for this rehearsed apology. He doesn't wait for him to begin to earn his forgiveness by serving him, because the father is not looking for a servant. He's looking for a son. The father is not looking for a servant. He is looking for a son. And if you haven't heard anything that I've said today, please lean in and hear this. You don't have to be fixed to be found. You don't have to be fixed to be found. You don't have to clean yourself up before you come to God. God isn't expecting this future, better version of yourself before you come to him. He simply wants you. And no matter who you are, or what you've done, or where you're at in your life, you are worth finding. And maybe you've been running, for a long time. And you feel like there's no way that the Father would run to me. He doesn't, if he would really knew what I've done, if he really knew what was going on in my life, there's no way he would come to me. And the people in the crowd probably felt the same way. The outcasts in the stairs, hey, there's no way I deserve to be called son in this society. And Jesus was trying to teach them that there's enough grace for them, and there's enough grace for us, and there's enough grace for you and for me. And that no matter what you've done, you are worth finding. And there's actually another brother in the story. Just like there are two types of people in the crowd. It says in Luke 15, verse 25, now his older son was in the field. And as he came and drew near to the house, he heard music and dancing, and he called out his servants and asked what these things meant. And he said to him, your brother has come home, your father has killed the fattened calf because he was received him back safe and sound. But he was angry and refused to go in. His father came out and entreated with him, but he answered his father, look, these many years I have served you, I've never disobeyed your command, yet you never gave me a young goat, that I might go celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours come, who has devoured your property with prostitutes, you killed the fattened calf for him. And he said to him, son, you are always with me, and all that is mine is yours. It was fitting to celebrate and be glad, for your brother was dead and is alive. He was lost and is found. This older brother could not comprehend that his father would let this runaway son come back. Man, wasn't this the same guy that took all the money? Man, wasn't this the same guy that went and did whatever he wanted to do? Wasn't this the same guy that left? And he was so angry of what was going on, that his brother was being received in this way, that he wouldn't even go to the party. Man, they are throwing a party for his brother returning, and he is so mad that he never got a party for himself that he won't even go celebrate. And maybe for you, you felt that way before about people you know from school, maybe even people here in this room, that you felt like this isn't a place for them. They don't belong here because of the things that they've done. You know too much about that person, and if everyone else knew these things about that person, they wouldn't want them here either. And if that's you, I want you to know, you don't decide whether someone is worth finding. You don't decide whether someone is worth finding or not. You haven't arrived to some spiritual point where you are climbing the ladder to become at the top. There is only one king, and he extends grace to everyone. And I love the Father's heart, because just as much as he goes and chases the runaway, he also goes and chases the older son with the hardened heart and begins to plead with him. Man, and he even tells the older brother, he uses that word receives again. He said it was good that we would receive him. It's good that we would welcome him. It is good that we were looking forward to him coming back. Because Jesus wanted the religious people to know that they needed the grace just as much as the other people. They needed the grace just as much as the younger brother, just as much as the outcast, just as much as the sinner. And here is the reality. Fixing starts on the inside. Fixing happens when we move from Father, give me, right? That is what the younger brother said. Father, give me what I'm owed. Man, give me what I want. Let me have all the things that I desire, all the things that I want. Father, give me. And we begin to move to a place to, Father, fix me. Father, there's some broken things inside of me that need some fixing, and I think you're the only one that can do it. Man, Father, fix me. I know the things that I'm chasing are not of you. Man, and I don't want to end up in a place where I'm alone and broken with some smelly pigs. Man, Father, fix me. Man, you don't have to be fixed to be found. You don't have to be fixed to have value. You don't have to be fixed to be loved. You don't have to be fixed to belong. God isn't expecting some perfect person running to him, but his heart in that moment as you start coming back, man, is keep coming to me. Man, God's heart in that moment is not what is wrong with you. Why can't you figure this Christianity thing out? You've been doing it long enough now. God's heart in that moment is just keep coming to me. You're going to fall. You're going to fail. Just get back up and keep coming to me. And maybe you're in here and you're worried that the wrong type of people might show up. Man, this is just my heart to yours. You're the wrong type of people, and this is a great place for you to be. And maybe you're in here and you're the younger brother and you've just been running and chasing things your whole life. And you would say, man, I'm at a point where I'm alone and I am broken. I'm pretty sure I've been hanging out with some smelly pigs and things are not going great for me. And you remember the kindness of a father that would welcome you back. And you remember the kindness of a father that has open arms. And you remember the kindness of a father that puts a ring on your hand and a robe around you. You're saying, that's so much better than the things that I want. And Jesus told this story so someone like you would know that the Father came running in the midst of your broken, smelly, pig-covered mess to say you were lost and now you are found. You have value. You do belong here and you are loved. You're a son. You're a daughter. Pray with me. God, we come to you today, Lord. And we are so thankful for what you are doing here in the midst of us. As we begin to study these stories that you have told, and we begin to find who we are in that story, God. And maybe some of us have been judgmental and we've been bitter, and we've seen other people be celebrated from decisions that they have been making, and we wish that would have been us. And I pray for hard hearts. And I pray for open arms, God, that we would begin to welcome people into the family that do things differently than us. God, I pray that you impress on our hearts that these people outside of these walls, these people in our schools, these friends that don't know you, how we react to them in the midst of their mess determines whether they see you as a father with open arms celebrating them or an older brother who's too disgusted to even go to the party. And that is the responsibility you've placed on us. God, may we love people well with open arms and celebrate what you're doing in people's lives, the life change that you're bringing. And maybe for some of us in this room, we are the younger brother. We've been the runaway. We have done whatever we wanted. And we know that that's not giving us what we want, that these broken things can't fix the brokenness inside of us. And if that's you today, I just want to pray with you real quick. And you just pray with me something like what I'm saying right now. God, I don't have all the answers, but I want to move from Father, give me to Father, fix me. I know there's some brokenness inside of me. And I know I've not been chasing after you. I've been chasing all the other things. Help me, God. Fix me. Help me chase the more valuable thing. Help us love people well. Be people who are known for finding people, not turning people away. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Stand and worship again.